What's up, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to the third episode of Tuffy Talk. As we kind of were hinting at a little bit, got a big treat for you guys today. Really looking forward to it with the interview of the one, the only Garrett Bradbury, center for the Minnesota Vikings, former NC State center as well. And with that being said, we won't waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Hey, Wolfpack Nation. This is Leighton Smith giving you the third episode of Tuffy Talk here with my co-host, Macon Adams, and with our guests here, Garrett Bradbury, center of the Minnesota Vikings, multiple-year starter at NC State. We're so excited to have you here with us, Garrett.
Appreciate you having me, Leighton. Fired up to be here.
Yeah.
Excited to talk about Wolfpack sports.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And again, I mean, we want to obviously take an opportunity to talk about you. Obviously, I mean, obviously just finished your second season, started all 16 games so far. So, I mean, I guess I just wanted to kind of start off with Garrett, just kind of reviewing. I mean, obviously, again, just like I said, you finished your second year. What are your kind of overall thoughts, or if you had to evaluate your first 2 years, what would you kind of say about it?
Yeah, it's a lot different than college, that's for sure. Rookie year, it had its ups and downs. It's a different game. The NFL is a whole lot different. And I feel like I improved a lot from year one to year two. And that was because kind of year one, you don't have an off season. You finish your college season and then you're kind of straight into combine training, and then you get drafted. And then it's just a lot of new things, new routines, new expectations. And so there's a lot of new things. And then had a good off season and entered this past year, and definitely felt like I improved, felt light years more comfortable, just with the playbook, with the system, with the schedule. I mean, it's everything. It's crazy. When you go to year two, you feel like you're like a 5-year vet versus just a 2-year. So felt big changes, big improvements over that, and just going to try to look to build on that going into year 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how was it kind of, I guess, adjusting? Because obviously I know that with a center quarterback that there's got to be that relationship there, obviously, because, I mean, I know that you're kind of viewed as kind of the quarterback of the offensive line. So, I mean, how did it kind of feel kind of taking on that role as kind of that quarterback and then, being the center to Kirk Cousins, obviously a veteran in the NFL?
Yeah, I've learned so much from Kirk. He is one of the smartest guys I've ever been around. He's seen a lot of football. And so it's one of those things that I didn't want to just come in and start barking a bunch of orders. And it's kind of a gradual process. I think guys got to see kind of who I am, my work ethic and stuff like that. So it was going to take some time to kind of grow over time. And I think the more comfortable I am, the more comfortable I am with Kirk and Kirk with me. It takes reps. It takes a bunch of practices. It takes games. It takes the both of us seeing a bunch of different defenses together, and kind of by the end of it, we're kind of firing in all cylinders communication wise. Like I'm seeing what he's seeing, and it's a much better working relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's great. And then the last thing, I know we were just kind of talking about this, but I know obviously the weather was, I'm sure, a huge change. Obviously, luckily
I can imagine it's crazy cold up there.
Vikings play indoors, luckily. So, but I mean, was it a shell shock at first, going from North Carolina weather to snow and cold almost year round, I would say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest change was the type of weather in fall camp, as you know, Leighton, where it can get pretty muggy and get pretty humid in those late July, early August practices. But then I came up here and it's like 75 and sunny and beautiful, like humidity's not as bad. And I'm like, wow, I can definitely do camp practices like this.
Yeah.
And then Halloween rolls around and you get like an 8-inch pile of snow that drops on you. And you're like, whoa, Halloween? Like it's October.
Yeah.
And so now I'm up here with my fiance and there's about 12 inches of snow on the ground. It's about 17 degrees daily. So it's a different living up here.
Yeah.
But we love it.
Good.
So you touched on that whole being up there with the whole draft process. I know people talk about like all. I mean, I've watched videos and interviews and that kind of thing. But what was that like for you? I mean, like, before that, how different is Minneapolis from Charlotte? Let's start with there. How much different is it?
We love the Twin Cities. It's unique because you have two very big cities right next to each other. They're like 8 miles apart. And so, and with very different vibes, different things to do. There's a ton of good food around here. And there's kind of like a term called Minnesota nice up here. And that's true. Like, it's kind of like Southern hospitality, but it's just everyone up here is like super nice. So they're good people. Cool. They're super like welcoming. And so in terms of that, I mean, I love Charlotte. I love the Twin Cities. So they've both been great cities. The weather's obviously got to be the biggest difference. It's got to be.
So with that, I mean, I was always curious about that because I've been to Charlotte. I've never been to Minnesota, let alone Minneapolis. And I was figured with the weather, big city like that, I didn't know how like much of a culture shock that was.
Yeah, I mean, you just get used to it. I mean, it's not like when everyone's like, "Oh, you're just freezing your butt off up there." I'm like, you don't really go outside. Like it's 17 degrees, and the only time I'm outside is like when I'm walking to my car. Like we practice indoors pretty much every day. We play indoors. I know like there's a big tunnel system downtown to where you don't have to go outside. So you just kind of adjust to it. And I'm not like hanging out outside all day in October, November, December, like I might be in Raleigh or Charlotte. So,
yeah. So going back to that draft process thing, I kind of cut in with the Minneapolis question, but what was that like when you were going into it? Like, did you know Minnesota was a really good chance that you could end up going there? I mean, did you know you would end up going pretty early? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, I mean, you try not to guess where you think you're going, but you can kind of narrow some teams down based on like their position needs, where they're at.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think that Minnesota was like super likely, but I didn't think it was out of the question because they had a really good center in Pat Elflein, who's one of my best friends. And awesome. So I was like, they have Pat. I don't think they'll take a center. But I think they saw Pat's versatility and that he could move to guard and be just as good for the team. And so you don't want to play the guessing game because then you're either going to get disappointed or surprised. Yeah, and so I just kind of wanted to stay level-headed and trust that God had a plan, and I'm going to go wherever I needed to go. So,
amen.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And because one of the things too, Garrett, which I don't even know if you know, see, I'm sure that's been mentioned to you, but obviously one of the biggest accomplishments for you, which I would say, especially coming off of another state grad, Phillip Rivers, how he's very well known for being that guy that starts game in and game out. And so for you coming in as a rookie and starting all 16 games for 2 seasons and actually being the only Vikings rookie to do that at center, I mean, what would you kind of attribute to that happening? To staying healthy, being successful in that manner, and being on the field every game?
Yeah, that's something that I feel like kind of started in college with Coach Ledford and Coach Doran. Something that they said and something that is said all the time in the NFL is that the best ability is availability.
I love that.
So you kind of just like, you got to take some personal pride in that. I mean, it's the NFL. Like you're not going to feel great on Sundays, but what's interesting is it's such a longer season because like what's a college season? It's 12 games and then maybe a bowl game. So it's 13 games, right? My rookie year, we had 4 preseason games. We had 16 regular season games, and then we played 2 playoff games.
Yeah.
So that's 22 games at a much higher level of competition. Yep. And that's almost 2 college seasons. And so your attention and focus in college is like school, football, like you have a lot of different things going on. In the NFL, like one of the biggest things for me is recovery. Yeah. Like you kind of got the playbook down, you got your schedule down, but it's like, what can I do day in and day out to get my body ready for Sunday? And so that's
what is that? Kind of like food, cold tub. What does that look like?
It's a lot of different things. It's cold tub, hot tub. We have a cryotherapy machine at the facility. I get acupuncture work done every week, massage work every week. I get an IV every week. I get an infrared sauna. I mean, like that is huge. I got like a sunlight and infrared sauna that was just awesome for muscle recovery and stuff like that. And diet, nutrition, supplements. I mean, I'm trying to do whatever I can to like find an edge to just recover my body more. So.
So going all the way back, kind of going back to when you were in high school, I remember I followed the recruiting stuff pretty hard. I followed back then. It was there was Pack Pride and there was like Wolfpacker and some other ones out there. Now there's Inside Pack Sports. I remember you were again like a tight end coming in. I think you were the first committed that class. I think that was right. And I think you played some defensive line in high school. If you had looked back, would you have ever thought that you'd be playing offensive line? And heck, you ended up winning the Remington Trophy in 2018. Would you ever thought, I'm playing tight end a little bit, and now I'm going to end up being, by the end of my college career, the best center in college football? What would you have thought if that had ever crossed your mind?
If you had told me that in high school, like, hey, you're probably going to be moved to O-line, honestly, probably would have went the baseball route. I would have tried to find whatever team would take me to play baseball. I would have been like, yeah, that's just not for me.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. But once I got to NC State, because like a few schools were recruiting me as they were like, hey, we like you at D-line, maybe O-line. That was kind of like UNC Charlotte was saying that. And App State was recruiting me really for O-line, but I didn't know it. And I was just like, I'm going to play tight end. And Coach Faulkner at NC State loved me as a tight end. I was like, all right, that's what I'm going to play. And then I got there, quickly moved to D-line, and then kind of wanted to move to D-line because I saw myself, all right, if I'm a tight end, I'll probably be more like a fullback type role, and I'll get 15, 20, 30 snaps a game. D-line, if I'm second string, I'll get at least 20 snaps a game. So I was like, I just want to be on the field because in high school, I didn't leave the field offense or defense. And then Doran made the decision for me to move to O-line. I didn't even have a choice.
Really?
Yeah.
He just kind of told you straight up, you're going to O-line.
Yeah, I finished my redshirt year, had shoulder surgery, and then I asked to be moved to D-line. So I spent January to August D-line, but I was still recovering from surgery. So I was just kind of in the room working out with the guys. And then day one of fall training camp, Coach Doran invites me into his office and goes, hey, just want to let you know, we're going to move you to O-line. And here's why. Okay. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I mean, his reason was hey, you're going to be second string day one. You will get 50% of the reps, all fall camp. I was like, I just want to play. Whatever.
Yeah,
you think that's best for me? I'll do it. And it was the best decision anyone's ever made for me. So.
Yeah.
And because who was first string? Was that when Schooley was there or?
Yep. Schooley was there. And it was, I wasn't at center initially. I was at guard. It was Alex Barr at left guard, Tony Adams at right guard. And between Schooley, Barr, and Tooney, they had 3 or 4 years each of starting.
Right.
So got to kind of see how well they knew the game and got to see and experience offensive linemen's work ethic and how they approached everything. So that was awesome. And so I was kind of in a reserve role. Me and Tyler Jones were kind of the next two guys to go in. Mm-hmm. And then the next year I started at left guard. So.
Yeah. It's cool. And because, obviously, I mean, you went into getting coached by Coach Ledford, who ended up going to Louisville, and then he ended up coaching a guy who also went in the first round. I mean, how much of your success would you contribute to Coach Ledford? I mean, it's obviously that he does something right. Let's put it that way.
Right. I mean, he's one of the best. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about that, and he's going to go as far with coaching as he wants to. I think. I actually talked to him today. I talk to him all the time. I'm still really close with him. Awesome. I wouldn't be where I am without him. I know that for sure, because I think what he does so well in coaching paired well with me in what I do so well. It was the perfect fit. And just from a work ethic, from the standard he expected of the room, he was perfect for our room at NC State, for the guys. I think we had a lot of success because of him.
Yep. Good.
So I was looking back at some of the games, and I feel like when you mentioned being a tight end, you thought, okay, if I'm going to be tight end, I'm going to be a fullback, put my hand in the dirt kind of thing, maybe, or just that kind of tight end. Where does that touchdown play rank in your mind when against ECU? Because I watched that, and that celebration at the end just cracks me up whenever I see that.
Oh, that was a blast. That was a top moment for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to get called because it had to have been the perfect scenario. And I think someone intercepted a ball or recovered a fumble and returned it to the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
It was the most perfect scenario.
I think it was McLeod. If I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, it was it was like late in the third quarter, fourth quarter, we were up by a lot. It had been the perfect scenario. And so it happened, and coach gave me the nod, and so I was like, let's do it.
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
The real question, have you shown Coach Zimmer that play?
No, I have not. I've got a lot more on my plate to worry about than having to score.
Yeah.
We've got
that would be
guys
awesome.
that can run the ball. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But you do know that if that ever happened, I mean, State fans would just lose their minds. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
I think Vikings fans might lose their minds.
well, Vikings fans are like, what are they doing? And State fans would be like, well, you know what they're doing. They're being smart here.
No, we have plenty of guys that can score touchdowns that I do not need to be in the end zone. But I'll be there celebrating.
Yeah, right. And because speaking of another big moment that really stood out to me as well was last year when you guys beat the Saints in overtime in the wild card game. One of my favorite moments is seeing you guys in the locker room after the game, and Kirk is making a speech, and then we see you in the background, and he does his famous "You like that?" and the room just goes crazy. I mean, I would assume that ECU touchdown, and then I would guess that moment is pretty up there. I mean, that was so cool to watch.
Absolutely. And playoff football is just different. I mean, everything is just turned up a notch. Everything's on the line. That was so fun. I mean, I didn't think it was unbelievable. No one thought we were going to win except the guys in that locker room. It was a special day. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Good.
That's cool. So have you gotten to watch much of the state team this past season?
Yeah. It's funny because state always plays at noon, right? And so
it feels like it
always plays at noon, but then we got some 7:00 games this year.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Out of like nowhere. Finally got some 7:00 games, but we're actually in meetings at the hotel at night for the 7:00 games.
Yeah.
Because the noon games I'm usually able to watch as long as we're not traveling, but most of the 7:00 games wasn't able to because we were in meetings at the hotel. But yeah, every chance I could, I was watching them. They did their thing this year. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the offensive line? I know, like, I heard that they hand out even like, and they have these like gimmicky kind of things whenever there's like a turnover or something, like on other teams, like a turnover belt or the Miami's gold chain. What do you think about that handing out the pancake syrup at the end?
Oh,
y'all
awesome.
Been doing that for a while?
It actually started my senior year. Doran started it.
Oh yeah, okay.
We'd just be in every Sunday after the game on Saturday. He usually stands up there and he kind of goes over the stats, like time of possession, turnovers, kind of the big stats as to why we won or why we didn't. And then he usually gives like player of the game, offense, defense. And then senior year, he just started to throw a bottle of syrup to whoever. He'd show like a really good highlight of a pancake and he'd throw that guy a bottle of syrup. Watching those guys, I mean, a lot of those guys had a lot of bottles of syrup this year. I know that. Yeah. It was fun to watch.
I love watching Icky just lay a guy out all the time. He seemed to always get the highlight of the talk at least, but
he's a freak. Oh, he's a freak. I wasn't there with him. I was there with a lot of the other guys and Spees and Gibby and Joe and Witt. It's a lot of fun to watch them and how they've progressed over the years. But watching Icky, he's a freak.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all did a really good job. I was just really impressed with them just having everybody had talked them down from the previous year, and Leary gets hurt. You feel like Bailey's starting. You feel like he's your backup. You don't feel like you got much open. Then it just, I was really impressed for them. But that's cool. You got to watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and because we're over your first, I guess it was probably your first year. Were you able at all to come to any games? I couldn't remember anywhere I saw you there, but.
No, I wasn't. The only game that it would have lined up good, our bye week, we played it was at Georgia Tech, I believe, in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I just spent the bye week to go see some friends and family. And then this year, obviously, we were kind of locked down, weren't able to do anything. Yeah. But definitely looking forward to being able to do that. That's going to be a weird feeling to be on the sidelines for a game.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it was really cool when the NFL guys would come back on Saturdays and they'd be on the sideline. And so I definitely look forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, hopefully you got an exciting schedule this year, and hopefully COVID, will allow it and for you guys to come back. And so speaking of other NFLers, I'm sure you've had some run-ins with some other NFL state players like BJ Hill and Justin Jones in the center.
Oh yeah.
Maybe even Chubb a little bit.
Absolutely.
Do you guys talk about that often? Kind of share tapes from the games of, I got you here, and I got you there.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing with BJ is that he thinks he won. He thinks he wins no matter what, every situation, all the time.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to talk with BJ because he just thinks the world of himself, and he will always say that he just.
Oh, he's probably going to see this clip later.
Hopefully, because I try to talk to him. I'm like, dude, because we ran all over them when we played the Giants last year, and of course he was saying, no, y'all just got so lucky, like we were tearing y'all up, and so it's always banter with BJ. But no, it's really fun. It's weird to line up against them again because that's what we did every day for practice for 4 years.
Yeah.
Played Justin, played BJ, played AJ Cole, played Phillip.
Yeah.
It's Naheem. It's pretty cool. It's awesome. There's so many NC
awesome.
State guys in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Is it interesting at all blocking for, Dalvin Cook? You wouldn't say necessarily it's like a UNC running back per se, but he was a former conference rival. Did that, do you guys talk about that at all? Like when FSU plays State, do you guys kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I talk a little trash about how bad they are lately. He always reminds me of how much he used to ran all over us. So it's kind of a give and take.
Yeah.
Dalvin's one of the best teammates I've ever had. He's just such a positive guy. He's the leader of the team. He's awesome.
Yeah, great. And really, I guess kind of the next big question is, so what are your expectations for next season? I know that it's definitely time. I know a lot of Vikings fans are ready for, Super Bowl, ready for a championship, ready for it all. What are your expectations? How close do you think you guys truly are to winning it all?
We have all the pieces, that's for sure. This year was tough. We didn't even make the playoffs. And if you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, I'd been like, there's no way, not with all the talent we have. And so we're going into year 3 with this same offensive system. And I feel like we were clicking on all cylinders offensively. I think we finished top 5 in the league in offense, top 4 in rushing, something like that. Yeah. But we have to help the defense. Defense has to help us. It's a team game. It's special teams.
Yeah.
There's just games where like the defense, they were firing all cylinders and we weren't, and vice versa. So we just got to put it all together. I hate to use the injury excuse, but we were missing a lot of guys this year, with Pro Bowl linebacker Anthony Barr, our nose tackle that we signed opted out, Danielle Hunter, who's, in my opinion, the best pass rusher in the NFL, had neck surgery at the beginning of the year. That's 3 big pieces on defense that we get back next year. So I'm excited to see what we can do full strength, and obviously the expectation of Super Bowl. I feel like Minnesota's never won a Super Bowl, and so I think when we win a Super Bowl, it's the place is going to shut down. It's going to be insane.
It'll be a win. It'll be a win.
Probably similar to what like a championship at NC State would look like, if that can kind of give you a good picture.
Yeah.
I've already told my wife, I said, if whenever State gets back to a championship, we're going to be there. It does not even a question.
That's just how a lot of State fans feel. That's how a lot of Vikings fans would feel. They'd all be there and they'd all be screaming their butts off. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. And, I guess kind of getting to it from the State side. From what you saw this year, do you feel like, State's got the pieces to get there, or, how close do you think we are? Because, just like you said, State fans are dying for it too. So, I'm interested, from your end, even specifically from the offensive line side, even if it goes that far, what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah. It starts up front. I truly believe that. And I think there's a great offensive line coming back. I know you're losing Aleem McNeil up front. He had a heck of a year, but I know there's some good defensive linemen coming back. And so as long as you're good up front, I think you can do whatever you want to do. And I trust Coach Doran. I think Coach Doran has been unbelievable for NC State. I think a lot of people don't understand.
Me too. I
think a lot of people don't understand how much he's changed the culture there. That's from when I first got there to what it is now. It's pretty awesome to see. So I trust everyone that he's hired along the way. It's kind of crazy. I just saw that Coach McDonald's leaving. And he was actually the last coach on staff that I had. So now every coach on staff other than Doran, I did not play under. Which is pretty crazy to think about. But there was turnover while I was there, and he always hired. He always said, he's like, I'm either going to hire the same or better than what there was before. And from what I can see, that's been the case. So I'm excited to see what they do next year. The sky's the limit. You have Coach Doran, you have Coach Thunder. and Justin Smith in the training room. You have those three pieces in place, and they've been there for a while. So I'm excited.
And you can't forget about Country making.
No doubt. I got shout out Country and Jimmy.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Smoke.
Yeah, smokes the man. Yeah, no, I mean that's something that I mean I think just like you kind of said, Garrett, that I know from my time with being with the program that I've been trying to preach to a lot of people that I mean it's a process behind closed doors that not a lot of people get to see or really understand until you really are in that room. And when you see guys, like one of the moments that really stood out to me was I think it was in 2016 when we lost to Boston College. On that last play, and seeing in the locker room, like guys like Steph, like how hard it hit him, that he felt like he lost the game for us. I mean, you could just see how bad we wanted it and how close we were. And you just knew that eventually that we were going to learn from that. And as a program, we were going to take the next step. It was just a matter of time. And it was a matter of just getting the guys to kind of help take that next step. And I think for you guys with, Ryan Finley and, Kelvin Harmon, Steph, Jacoby, and then having Chubb, Justin Jones, those guys, I mean, there's no doubt, in my opinion, when you look at this team compared to before Dorian got here, it's night and day. Night and day there. So,
yeah, it's not close.
No. So, and I'm curious too. So again, just like Macon was saying, you were one of the first people to commit to us. So what really sold you on State to commit to us? So to commit to State so early? I mean, what was kind of what kind of hit the nail?
What sold you on them? What sold you on State, I guess?
Yeah. What sold you?
This probably isn't a good recruiting pitch, but it was really just my best offer. I only had three choices, and I did commit pretty early, but I had Charlotte, Colorado State, and NC State, and
that's true.
Power 5 ACC football. Coach Faulkner was on me from the beginning, really wanted me. So I was like, I'm going to go play the highest level of football I can, and they want me. Yeah, I'll sign up for this.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it was in Raleigh, a beautiful city. I love the coaching staff. I like what Coach Doran was about. So, I mean, it was a perfect fit. But I only had three options, so I can't sit up here and say,
hey, you got to take the best opportunity for you.
Yeah. And so I'm curious. So where do you have that Remington trophy? Do you have it sitting on your mantle somewhere, or?
It's at my parents' lake house in Lake Wiley outside Charlotte.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
It's 80 pounds. So
really?
Yeah, it's thick. It's so shipping that up here would probably cost about $200. So it's at my parents' house right now.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Wow. And so tell me about that moment, when you got the news that you won the Remington. I mean, again, just it's such a special thing. I mean, seeing a player like when Chubb won his trophies postseason. I mean, it's got to be one of those things that I mean, I know from us as State fans and us as a State program that we love to hang our hats on. So I mean, to win that, I mean, and to see where you came from, I mean, what was your initial reaction? I mean, how long did it take to sink in that you just won?
Yeah, we had a pretty good season up front as an O-line. Numbers wise, we were running the ball well. We were protecting the quarterback. Ryan was getting that thing out. And it was kind of in the back of my mind, but obviously I had to still focus on the season. Like, yeah, might be a finalist for this, might be like semifinalist, whatever. And I knew that like the list of finalists, like I think there's 3 where it was coming out, and it wasn't really like, I wasn't like locked into it or anything. And we were coming in for like a typical Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever. And I get called to come up to Coach Doran's office. And I was like, oh boy, I don't know what this is about. And so I go in there, and him and Coach Ledford are in there. And it was like early in the morning. And he was just like, I just want to tell you that you have not only been selected as a finalist, but you have won the Remington Trophy. And I was like, what? So I didn't really know like how the process worked at all. So that he just like dropped that bomb on me, and we celebrated, and I was just completely in shock. So the 3 finalists are announced, and only the winner flies to the award show in Atlanta, because they do a bigger banquet in Lincoln, Nebraska. And so they kind of had to figure out travel plans. And so that's why they tell the winner so early. And so I found out and I was like, oh my, like just fired up. Coach Ledford was fired up.
Yeah.
Wasn't really supposed to share with a lot of people, but I had to share like with Tyler and Big T and the other starters on the O-line. And so honestly, like sharing that with them and seeing their excitement for me, that was as cool as hearing that I won it. So that was definitely a special day.
Yeah. No, I mean, even when you just told
really
me
cool.
that what Dorn said that, I'm like, wow, I can't imagine.
It was crazy.
That's
it was
amazing.
Crazy.
Amazing moment. And so last question, a fun question here. So what would you say is your favorite NC State uniform combination that you've worn, that you've seen? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but hey, you can even give me a couple.
There's
Since
a lot.
Since the last moment thing, I'll even give you a couple options if you want them as well.
I'll just go 2 options.
Okay.
The first one, in no particular order, would have to be what we wore on Thursday night against Louisville.
Oh yeah,
that was probably my favorite game of my college career.
okay.
The black, all black with the chrome, that was unbelievable. And that game and the crowd and the result of the game, everything. And then the second, I just have to go red, white. I think you just the classic, the go-to. I think it looks so clean.
The red, white looks like really strong to me when you look at it on TV. I don't know, it just looks strong.
Yeah. Probably those 2. Just the classic look, and then I really like the all black and the chrome and just that game. So, but if we would have lost that game, I probably wouldn't have said that. But that was
it's the worst uniform ever.
it was just such a fun day.
Yes. No, I mean, we actually talked about that in the last episode, how how electric and just, obviously
the environment, it was insane.
It was insane.
Yeah, we did like a top 5 Dorn wins at State, and we both had that at like number 2, number 1, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was a big win. So
it's up there.
What was number 1?
The Pittsburgh game this year.
I had the I thought it was that game when y'all, I think you're on the team, when y'all went down to Florida State and beat them on the road.
Yeah,
I can't believe none of the Chapel Hill wins are number 1 for y'all.
Oh no, it's on there. It's number. I think we had Chapel Hill like number 3.
Yeah.
Which one?
We were just talking about like what 2016 when you played Trubisky and it was like 28-21. Then I thought, honestly, I kind of put in there when you had when Reggie had like 5 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Hit that wrong.
The end of the game, that was fun.
Yeah. Well, because we tried to keep it as what were the big wins for Doran, not necessarily because obviously for State fans, any Carolina win, top 5 easily.
Yeah. So, top 5 should all be Carolina games.
But we tried to do it for what was big for Doran, and to beat Lamar Jackson, because obviously going to that game they were Lamar, and as I kind of said in that after that game they were talking about NC State and Chubb and
no doubt.
No, cool deal. Well, so thank you, Gary, again for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it, man.
Good luck to you, man, for this upcoming season. We're cheering for you, rooting for you hard, man, and hoping, just like you said, that you can deliver that championship, and hopefully along with it, NC State can deliver us a championship. That's
no doubt.
And I'll tell you, dude, State fans are really like, I know a lot of State fans, they watch guys in the NFL. They're really proud of guys who can do that. So it's for me being a fan, I know Leighton being a fan, it's like really cool to see y'all out there and repping State and playing as well as y'all are.
Yeah,
absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely.
No problem,
Glad to do. Well, again, stay safe, Gary, and appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. That was the interview we had with Garrett Bradbury. We had a really great time with that interview and getting to speak with him for a little while, talk a little bit of the Vikings and the Wolfpack. And I thought he has a really good stuff to talk about, Leighton. What kind of stood out with you in that interview?
Well, really, to me, still seeing again him laugh about the times at State with the ECU touchdown and laughing some about that. That was one of the big things. But really, to me, about the availability quote that he had, I know that was something that he kind of reminded me of when from my time of watching state football, and I know that was thrown around a lot, but I think that's 100% true, that availability is the key thing, and to be there every single week to play is a huge thing that sometimes goes unrecognized, but is definitely not thought of until it's not available.
For me, it was the stuff, like that was a really great quote. I think it was like the best ability a player can have is availability. But for me, I really liked hearing all those little stories that you didn't know, like the background things, like hearing that how he found out about the Remington Trophy was just getting called up to the office, and he had no idea, and then he got told before anybody else really knew. And I like the perspective he had on how much more it is from a physical standpoint having to play in an NFL season. He said, 12 to 14 games in a regular college football season, and then you have, for his first rookie season, I think he said he had 22. So that's just almost double. When you put that in perspective, that goes to show you how much more players in the NFL have to invest into, taking care of their bodies, watching film, doing the reps. That was pretty impressive to me.
Yes, it was. So definitely hope you enjoyed that, Wolfpack Nation, and definitely please feel free to subscribe and like this video and comment below with any comments or feedback that you have to us. Would love to hear from y'all. Make sure to please tune in for next week's episode, and please feel free to follow us as well on Twitter and Instagram, and listen to us again on Buzzsprout. And with that being said, just everybody please stay safe, and always go Pack.